Right guys, this is going to be a quick video on the YouTube Content ID debate that's been going on lately. A lot of people have been talking about it, and one of my favourite channels on here, Pro B-Man5, recently made a video talking about this issue, in which he basically was saying, you know, stop moaning about it, find ways to work around it, just stop complaining, I don't want to hear it, is what he was saying. Now, he had some valid points in that video that I'll link in the information bar below, but I wanted to make this video in response and expand on some of the things that we talked about in the comments section. So, he was saying that, complaining about it's not going to change anything, just stop moaning and that kind of thing. Well, I would have to say that, and I have said this to him already, that, I think that complaining is a useful thing to do. I think a lot of social changes that we've seen throughout history wouldn't have come about without bitching and whining. And he made the point that obviously collective, complaining, a collective action with some kind of cohesion and organisation to it might have a chance to influence, things. But he was saying that, the odd video here and there by us vloggers, as we have been doing, is not going to be a drop in the ocean of Google's business interests at all. It's not going to change a thing, us just whinging about it in videos, and I agree with that. But at the same time, if anything else, it's cathartic for us because it is something that affects us. And so it's going to happen. And if videos are labelled, talking about that issue, then if you're not interested, don't click on a video, as we'll go for this video. If you're not interested in this debate, then why did you click the video? But I agree with a lot of things Brad was saying, and I just wanted to expand on some of the things there. So, yeah, my main point with this Content ID thing is that I've seen quite a few people being kind of apologists for it, and basically saying, well, this, for example, with Nintendo, say if it was Nintendo was to go around taking down footage of gameplay, I've heard people apologising for that, saying, well, it's their content. If you don't want to get a strike on your account, don't use their content. It's not their content. It's not their copyright. They haven't got copyright over gameplay. And let me try and give you an analogy as to explain why, if you haven't already thought about it in this way. They create that product, someone's bought that product, they then go and use that product in the way that it was intended to be used, and shared a video of that usage of that content that they purchased. It's the same as if, for example, Rally Bikes, who make BMX bikes, it's the same as if Rally sued a BMX biker for using one of their bikes in a competition and then posting footage of it on the internet. That's kind of what we're looking at here. It's as if Nike tried to sue someone who used their trainers to win a race and earn some money from it. That's the analogy here. Gameplay is not code. It's not code. It's something completely different. It wouldn't be able to be shown without the interaction of the user, without them using that product in the way that it was intended to be used. Now, obviously that doesn't make any difference. That realization that is the truth of the matter doesn't make any difference to the fact that, yes, the money men are going to try and exploit the fact that video games is still quite virgin territory insofar as law. So they're going to try and apply existing law that applied to movies and music, and they're going to try and apply that to video games. But it's not the same. For the reason that I've just said, that interaction, that gameplay, that use of that content, you can't have the same kind of thing happening when you just post an album on YouTube, and someone can rip that album and use that content that they have downloaded off of YouTube as a direct replacement for the content that had been sold in the first place. See, that's why you could argue that it does apply to music. If I was to upload an album on YouTube, you could download it as a direct replacement for the content that I had bought in the first place to upload it. You can't do the same with gameplay. I'm not uploading a playable demo of the game. You cannot use that content in the way that it was intended to. You will still have to buy that content in order to use it. That you are not taking sales away from anyone by uploading gameplay. Unless, of course, the game is shit, and then you discover that actually I don't really want to play this game after all. And I would imagine that's part of the reason why they're kind of worried about this: control over the image of their games, control over public perception of their stuff. So, but But yeah, and there's money to be made from it. Where there's money to be made from it, big companies will assign teams of people to try and squeeze money out of those situations. So they're going to try and abuse the fact that, like I said, law is still virgin territory for video games. But we have to understand, gameplay is not code. Like I said, it's as if Nike sued someone for running in their shoes and winning a race, earning some money. Now that's obviously only when it comes to the money, the monetized video side of things. It gets even more ridiculous when videos aren't even monetized. But yeah, it is disappointing to see some of the bigger channels shutting down their channels and saying, well, I'm going now because I can't make any money off of it, it's too dangerous. I have no time for those channels, I don't need those channels. Sorry, you weren't making my life any better purely for the fact that you got bigger and put a few more hours into making your videos look all shiny with some fancy editing. Sorry, that's not the deciding factor as to whether I watch a YouTube channel or not. I watch a YouTube channel based on the personality of the person making the videos. I don't give two hoots about production quality. Yeah, sometimes it helps. Most of the time though it's irrelevant. And most of the time watching the gameplay of someone who's filmed their telly with a camcorder is just as enlightening and entertaining. Again, depending on the character of the person doing it, as a professionally produced video, which is getting easier and easier to do all the time anyway, so it's not as if you even have to choose between these high production bigger channels and smaller channels that are doing it for free for their own enjoyment. You don't even have to make that choice really, because like I said, recording footage and making videos in a professional looking way is getting easier and easier all the time. Obviously within our community there's lots of people doing that, and I will never monetize my videos, have never, will never. I don't see the point. I don't want ads appearing on my channel or videos. I think they're annoying. Advertising in general bugs me, and we don't need it. And yeah, no, the site doesn't need everybody to be putting ads on their videos to survive. That's another apologist argument I hear sometimes. It's not true. This site survived for several years without every other channel putting ads on their videos. Actually before the partner program came in, and then when the partner program first came in, it was very limited. And this site survived perfectly fine. In fact, probably it was surviving better. It was certainly operating better before Google took it over. And there's a whole host of problems there. But I don't like to see apologists for corporate manipulation of consumers. It's the Stockholm Syndrome effect to me. And if you don't know what that is, Google it, I guess. Stockholm Syndrome, it applies to when people make apologies for this kind of stuff, because, yeah, gameplay is not code. The site doesn't need to be littered with adverts to survive. And just because it's a free service doesn't mean we still haven't got a place to complain about the changes that have occurred on this site. YouTube has basically become the reason that it's legitimate to complain about this, even though it's a free site, is that YouTube has basically monopolized the market in terms of video sharing and being a video sharing site. It's become basically the town square. There's lots of different communities on here that have all made their home here. Lots of social connections that bring power to the sites. But again, yeah, it's really monopolised the situation. So it has really an obligation not to abuse that position. I mean, it's difficult to envision, but we've kind of talked about this off and on for the last several years as changes keep occurring. But it would be interesting to see if another site does try and kind of replace YouTube 2 kind of thing, back to basics and all the rest of it. But I don't know how likely that is to happen. So while we're here, as Brad said, make the best of it, try and find workarounds and that kind of thing. So I mean, we're still yet to really see an established pattern occur with this content ID thing. So maybe it will be the case that non-monetized videos aren't gone after as much. But if anybody's had any experience with that, let me know. In fact, now that I think about it, even as I say it, I'm thinking of examples. I'm pretty sure Darren Walshock's got a strike, and I don't think he monetizes his videos. I think he's of the same mindset as me when it comes to that stuff. So yeah, if they are actually going after videos that are not even monetized, please, people, do not make apologies for this. Yes, we can be realistic and say that our complaining is not going to do anything, but at least don't apologize for it. At least don't make up bullshit that it's valid. It's not valid. Gameplay is not code. That's it really. I'm sure I missed some points I wanted to say and probably laboured on other points that didn't need it for too much, but that's the video. And go check out ProBman5 if you haven't already. He's not over there, he's down there. And that's it. Alright guys, bye bye.